Many thanks for staying tuned. There's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Of course, we did tell you that we are beginning our countdown to Nigeria at 65. And on this segment today, we'll be taking a look at the importance of Lagos to Nigeria. If we all remember, Lagos used to be a federal capital territory. Until date, a lot of people still treat Lagos as one. And of course, this is why the Lagos state government is also asking for a special status for the state. But be that as it may, today we'll be taking a look at Nigeria at 65, the Lagos experience. And joining the conversation this morning is a communications consultant, and he'll be sharing his experience with us not only as a Nigerian, but again as a Lagos boy. And of course, it's our pleasure this morning to welcome Akin Fatunke. Thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, Bims. Always a pleasure to be with you.
All right. So we're looking at Nigeria at 65. But before we break it down into Lagos, let's ask you, Nigeria at 65, can you reflect briefly on this celebration, even though many are asking the question, is there anything worth celebrating? But if we look at where Nigeria is coming from and where we are today, can we do a short reflection of the journey so far?
It's been good.
It's been good.
It's been challenging. Sometimes it's been bad. But overall, culturally, we say we give thanks to God. And as an accountant, we call ourselves bean counters. We go down to numbers. Bims, 23,742 days. Between that fateful Saturday of October 1 and by His special grace will be a Wednesday of October 1, 2025. He's been lush. I liked your intro, but historically, I think Lagos will always continue to be remembered as a capital, commercial, capital, federal, in our country. But we must also bring back the tabula rasa and not clean the slate. Also remember that we had Lokoja and we had Calabar at different times that were capitals of Nigeria. Do we have anything to celebrate? We're celebrating life. Time will not permit me to begin to enumerate countries like ours, maybe slightly before ours and slightly after ours, who also got flag independence, but today they are no more.
Can you mention one or two?
I can look at Sudan, Southern Sudan, and the way
they are at the moment.
They had a kind of split. And I'm not going to limit it to Africa. I'm also going to look at the Soviet bloc.
Okay. The
USSR, I'm going to look at Yugoslavia, now Ukraine, slugging it out with
Russia.
Some, it's not that they do not want to continue to exist, but they became extinct because they were ravaged by the elements, earthquake inclusive. Yes, we've had our own fair share, but I like to say that we also must say from the law, from the layer, from the flora, from the fauna, we have not been swallowed as a country.
Right.
And I dare say, for people who are very familiar with the game of football, there are times you prepare very hard, you get your coaching and technical crews right. On the day of the soccer, the inevitable things that you never expected. Eventually comes in, and your hand or your hands are about being on the cup, and yet it's snatched away from
Away
you.
from you.
On that same football field, it might not just be that you have not tried, but you have done what you describe as own goals. So you deliberately open your eyes and you know you should be going north, and then you detour to the south. So we have been here and there, unlike others who have had to split,
Right.
sometimes for good. We have clobbered on. We have remained united within these unities. And that aspect is now being squeaking and it's being called to question in respect to whether we should continue under a constitution that has lied to itself, or we should find a way like others to
also see how we can
go our own ways, because we have different tongues, we have different tribes, we have different persuasions in our country. So I would like to say congratulations to Nigeria, congratulations to those who saw it that Saturday, and for those who will see it this coming Wednesday, because 24 hours or 4 hours might be.
It makes a whole lot of difference.
That's correct.
Exactly. So let's break it down and come back to Nigeria, to Lagos, of course, like we both agree, which has been a former federal capital, and in all its ramifications. Let's look at the economic hub, Lagos, as the center of excellence, as a state where, of course, it's been regarded as the economic hub of Nigeria. And of course, we do know that Lagos contributes over 30% of Nigeria's GDP. It hosts the busiest airport, financial institutions, and tech hubs. If you take a look at the special attribute of Lagos, how has this also contributed to the nation called Nigeria?
Very significantly. We found ourselves with the endowment of the ports, like you said. Lagos was the entry port and the melting pot for trade and commerce long before we became independent on October 1, 1965.
1960?
1960, and before our constitution, Republican Constitution in 1963, and before the coup that happened a year after 1965, which was, January 15, 1966. Yes, Lagos has been the economic hub center contributing to Nigeria's GDP most significantly. In terms of land size, Lagos cannot be compared with other states, 12 and 36 and Federal Capital Territory at different period of our history. We got, for the better part of it, from the UAC group and from the colonialists, the railway sidings that went all the way from the Ebute Metta of Lagos, all through the southwest and to other parts of the country. That in itself was not just an opener to commerce, enterprise, and trade. And the indigenous people of Lagos, maybe the Aworis, maybe the Benins, who gave us the name Eko, or for that matter, going back to the Portuguese, who gave us Lago de Curamo, knew exactly why that should be. Today, Lagos State not only contributes the highest internally generated revenue, Lagos State has also been the leader in terms of, some people call it cultural scenes of Lagos, cultural diversity of Lagos. Lagos remains the place where you get the first medical doctor, the first,
The first building, the first story building, the first church.
And maybe the first school.
Perhaps the first school.
Baptist Academy, 1855.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, and it went on. One of the first schools, I dare say, primary academy. And then, of course, CMS being the very first secondary school. And others came on. On October 1, 1960, like I said, things were beginning to take shape. In fact, Oloibiri Oilwell in present Bayelsa was now going to dissipate. But Lagos being the central of then eventual western region and had its own agric, had its own, housing estates, real estates, just call it, and zoom up to now. Where are we today? With surreptitious planning, diligent execution, we now have what you call the Lekki Free Trade Zone.
Right.
In this same Lagos. What does that say? It gave the resilience of the people and the culture and the welcoming aspect of it, unlike others.
Right.
And this is not trying to throw water in the eyes of others. But Lagos was, like I said, the melting pot where religions, both Islam, both Christianity, both non-traditional, were able to come and melt together without exception.
Right.
And Lagos, by way of culture, was more than welcoming. So what did this do to us right from the Atlantic intertrade? We have now gone into a situation of having a free trade zone. We now have the Eco-Atlantic city. Lagos has been able to, quote and unquote, conquer nature. The Atlantic was going to submerge us, but through some surreptitious thinking, we have had to now then go in there. Now, because agglomeration, and by agglomeration, it means people want to move from the hinterland to not even minding, please pardon me, if you are going to have to stay under the bridge, which unfortunately is not a welcome
It's not ideal.
thing. But you want to stay in one room, and then your dad, mom, everybody wants to come into
Everybody wants
Lagos.
to stay in Lagos.
We must understand that it goes without saying that when it comes to law, when it comes to commerce, when it comes to tech, Lagos continues to be the real hub that has attracted all manner of person.
Right. Apparently, I asked you one question, but you've succeeded in answering 3 questions in one.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yes. No, that's fine, because I was going to. I asked you about the economic of the impact of, but then you've also talked about the fact that Lagos is a diverse land, and
Very
Lagos
diverse.
has brought a lot of ethnic groups, cultural. Lagos, like they say, is a melting pot, and of course that you've explained here. You've also talked about the fact that it feels like there's a magnet here in Lagos, a migration magnet, which brings people from all walks of life. So 3 questions I was going to ask you've merged in one, and that would take me to the next thing, which you were also about to mention. And let's talk about the infrastructure strides of Lagos since independence. We know that this was not the Lagos, that we all saw when Nigeria or Lagos was founded. We have metamorphosed from one stage to the other, and yet on a daily basis, people still keep coming into Lagos. So if you'd like to take us through some of the things that you can attest to in terms of infrastructure of where Lagos was and where Lagos is at the moment.
Like all developmental geographies, Lagos was more to me like getting set for the rainy day, in getting administrative structures, divisions.
Okay.
If you remember the Ibile holdings, Ikeja, Badagry, Ikorodu,
Ikeja.
Lagos Island, and Ekpe. Not just as structures to be able to collect taxes, but also to now drive development, growth into the hinterland. infrastructure-wise, I think it goes and has a concomitant relationship to the ability of Lagos to have been able to generate revenue other than our dependence on oil.
Right.
We had in Lagos a mission, a value, indeed a vision to grow. And the Lagos Master Plan, right from, people argue here and there, from the time of Mobalaji Johnson itself, who was austere but had Lagos and Lagos State in mind to Jakonde, up through the time of current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, known then as Senator Bola Tinubu, to Fashola, to Ambode, and to the current governor. So the infrastructure guide and map was a trajectory that needed to be followed, albeit slightly different, perhaps out of politics or no politics, during the time of Ambode. But Ambode also built structures. We had situations where part of the investment is shaking across the Niger and up north. I am proud to say that we had administrations in Lagos that talk about strategic investment initiatives that was going to help us look at our agric, Lagos, Kebbi, Lake Rice, Lagos, Bago, and what is happening in Niger State. Comparative advantage, yes, we have the technology, we have the civil service, and we can benchmark and give some of these things to you. And is the reason why Lagos, for whatever reason, for good or bad, remained the bulwark of Southwest, and now what we call Southwest, Development Commission. Right. Others saw what was happening in Lagos and they copied it. The roads, the network, another very big thing that has come to try and open. We are still not there.
We're not there yet.
But at least we are on the process. A couple of bridges here and there. The most, in my honest opinion, would be human infrastructural development. Right. Looking at Lagos for future, looking at education, which everybody wants to be a part of, thinking again through the concept of the mother tongue and putting a lot of monies right in there. Like I said, it's still not up there. We have our health institutions, not there, but it's like the city of the blind. Well, all of us are blind, but at least if you look at how health centers, development centers have agglomerated and dissipated in Lagos. It's all part of...
Something is happening.
Part of that. And then, of course, technology, BIMS.
Let me hold your thought on technology, because you're going to add technology, innovation, and youth development. But before we do that, let's talk about urban challenges. We know that Lagos is also a state below sea level. And of course, we have issues with flooding. And so let's put issues around traffic management, housing deficit, environmental sustainability. Let's put all those together and how much Lagos is doing in that aspect, judging from the fact that population is also a huge challenge that Lagos is dealing with.
Yes, population is very huge challenge. Indiscipline is also a twin challenge to population that we are not able to.
We're not managing.
And we have a constitution that says that, where you stay or where you live, we still run a federation, albeit, in my opinion, a constitution that lies against itself, but exactly that's what we have. We will always continue to tinker with this. Now, BIMS, I will be the last to sit here and tell my listeners or tell myself or lie to myself that those are not instant challenges. The use of flooding, attempts to try and make sure people should not build on channels, and people will say no and all that, and throw in ethnic colorations into it. Building codes and the fact that you must get certain approvals before you need to do. Yes, we could also argue that what was Lagos State as a government in a continuum doing when all this was happening, and we cannot just wake up and just begin to destroy. So we must
take responsibility.
We must put the human touch, make sure whatever it is that we are doing, we have something that we can give back. Housing deficits. Well, people are coming in a one-room apartment. People are going there, having children uncontrollably. They may not necessarily be sons of the soil, as they say. They are also Nigerians.
Right. And they have a right to life.
They have a right to life. So, and when you are not number savvy, to register yourself, and I hope the taxation initiatives that is going on, that Mr. Oyedele at Federal is trying to put across. Yes, Lagos may shake to the right, but Lagos will still be very, very solid in terms of who are we. You cannot manage whatever it is that you cannot measure. And so the floods keep on. Initially, we said we should have a day that we should designate for cleanliness, the markets. I just believe sanitation, the Loma initiative started in Lagos, at least to the extent of what we have and where others are copying. But the deluge of what we have is by far much more. You mentioned the reason why Lagos should be given a special status is something that has to be struggled with. So, bad housing deficit, urban
renewal,
slump, crime and criminality, extra-governmental avenues. People talk about Agberus or no Agberus, which needs to be properly structured and then take it to our elections, whereby, people should be free to take part, vote, and be voted for. Takes me back to maybe a bit of a low aspect, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's human capacity development. Remember what happened in 2020, 2021, during the NSAS. Anger got into destroying some
valuable
of
assets.
The landmarks that preceded many in Lagos. The museum was still there, of course. The historical sites are still there. I'm happy that they are all now being
rebuilt.
But I'm not happy. I'm not happy. For instance, I stay in a place that we call Isolo. Some January, some years back, we had the cantonment.
Yes.
And then
there was the cenotaph.
A cenotaph, an obelisk was put in there. The whole place is now rot. Why should we be having that? Well, I can now say the local government administrations are hopefully now getting funds, and they should not be getting their funds directly. So housing deficit, some things are being done. I am particularly happy with a no-nonsense, in my honest opinion, Commissioner for Environment in Wahab. I don't think it's somebody that will say, will be flying the flag and everybody will be praising him. But he keeps on saying, let's think of our tomorrow today. Right. Let's collectively think what we should do. And then, of course, a governor who tells us that he listens, and not just listen, will say, okay, now, can we stop this? You are warned that you should not do certain things. Okay, can we find a place to keep you and all that? Always looking for,
solutions to issues.
Solutions and alternatives.
Okay.
Lagos will continue to feel this strain until not only just the rule of law, until equity, and until the status that brings in the reforms that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, coincidentally, now being at the center, trying to put
into the country.
I think Lagos is still going to be a flyer.
Right.
The largest, the most entrepreneurial in the subsection of West Africa. One of the cities, despite all the slots that we have, that has the potential to grow.
Let's quickly talk about what you were going to talk about earlier, talk about technology, innovation. And so let's add youth innovation into that bracket. How has Lagos fared when it comes to, we do also know that Lagos is one of the states in Nigeria that is regarded as a tech hub. You mentioned that earlier. So let's look at technology, youth innovation, youth empowerment, also in Lagos as part of looking at a broader Nigeria.
An attempt was made to resolve what ordinarily would have been a basic challenge, the Achilles heel to development, including technology in Lagos. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was governor of Lagos, for some reason, he decided he was going to creatively go beyond the limitations of the Constitution and get an IPP to get a power plant. It was blocked. Before him, a predecessor of his, who the late Jaconde, was going to look at the metro system and get, now that, still talking about infrastructure, red line and all that.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Buhari as a military stopped it. In other words, for every time that all these challenges came in, others came and said, what exactly is it you are doing? Giant in the sun, Lagos, what exactly is it that you are doing? So when Mike Zuckerberg came, he was invited.
Yeah.
We should not continue to lie to ourselves that he just wanted to come. The world is a sea page. He saw the hub of the technological inputs that is going on in places like what we call the Silicon Valley.
The Silicon Valley, okay. Yaba, Ibutemeta.
And Ikeja and all that wants to be relocated for better rates when everybody agrees. What he saw, marvel. What I have also been able to ascertain is that education in the classroom cannot be enough. And our curriculum will be such that you go out there, you go and see people, maybe right from the time of Chike Obi, who also lived in Lagos, people like Professor Ujobi, who also lived in Lagos, who started toying with structures and inventions. There are so many inventors who lived, perhaps have passed, and some who are still living and are able to do so many things without, not necessarily without formal education.
Right.
That is the cruise of the technology that we have now. The present government didn't start with it. Have always been looking at the area of technology. Okay, I mean, during Obasanjo's time, we're talking about ComSat. Everything ended in one scandal or the other. Satellites were going to go in there, but we said we need to now begin to look at numbers. And the current minister for technology, a young hub guy. I must always have my deep respect for him. And if you really look at it, he was one of the people that was not necessarily on the side of Mr. President.
Of the government, right.
But a president who decided that whether you are on my side, you're not on my side, I can lay some things out to you. And we started doing digital prints to begin to capture and support the technology hub of Nigeria. I dare say, without necessarily sounding boastful because I live in Lagos, I can tell you the most audacious tech hubs has been with people coming together, thinking through particular problem, finding ways to surround it. I also belong to Lagos Business School, where this has become a standard strategy, not only to talk about, but now then to help others to grow. Okay. So rather than you come in here, you can stay wherever you are, and which is exactly what somebody like Governor Sule of Nasarawa is saying. He was managing director in AP at one point in time, just next to me in Mobile. Wow. So he understood the fact that, look, if we can look at our comparative advantage, which technology is...
We can loopholes and then use it to the benefit.
You don't have to have a certificate, but you can be certificated. This is what is happening in the US and elsewhere, OECD countries. We can now begin to now look at this set of people and encourage them. Lagos State has been an encourager. Private enterprise has also been an encourager, and that's the reason why Lagos will always continue to be on top. I'm looking for others to also copy, and I'm sure Lagos, as we are running a federation, will be more than ready to lend their
expertise.
Right. I will also, not just expertise, initially when I started this program about Lagos, experience of Lagos versus 65 years of Nigeria cannot be complete without the music of Lagos. On October 1, 1960, the music rendered the airwaves on our independence. You can guess who this came from? Fela Anikulapo Kuti. He did Independence. And then, of course, Aide Bakari, Zil, Onya, Victor Olaya, Victor Waifu, Ebenezer Obey made a statement and said, Lagos State is a place for all, and Lagos all that.
It's a place for all.
So it's very, very important.
We could have also talked about the entertainment aspects, like you rightly just mentioned. Now, but time is fast spent. But if we take a look at another decade of Nigeria, maybe looking at Nigeria at 75, when that time is here, how is Lagos positioned at the moment to help cascade national governance or national development in the country?
The journey of 1,000 miles starts by a first step that you take. It may sound or look innocuous, but it has identity and meaning. When, for whatever reason, Lagos State decided with the novel idea of making some of the young ones in secondary school to compete amongst themselves and be made governor for one day, a statement was being made. And I hope we will continue to have a look at that. When Lagos State now said, against desertification and drought control, can we begin to see what Lagos State in Atlantic City and then begin to grow green? I want to believe and hope we'll continue on that. I think this should be of interest to you.
Right.
In the next few years and few decades, there's a competition now, I hope, as to who is going to produce the first lady governor in Nigeria, if it. I know Mama Taraba tried. I know a couple of VG during
in Imo or in Anambra.
In Anambra State with Peter Obi, and of course we have Akirile, and I am highly suspecting that will come from Lagos, and I'll tell you one of my reasons. Just one. Amongst the thing that is going to happen in Lagos, of course, we are going to get the National Theatre opened tomorrow by the President. We are going to get back into our culture, our lure. It's also private initiative looking for 65 women. 65 women of different disciplines who have not only made their mark and their impact, I said, little seed makes the giant oak.
Ocean, right.
I want to believe that the way things are going, with the kind of girl education that has been provided in Lagos that others can, cultural difference notwithstanding, different tribes and tongues notwithstanding, we are able to get over and tide over the political divisions. Lagos is no man's land, or Lagos is no man's land, and we are able to get that. Look for the very best of different cultures, including the Brazilians who came,
Right.
including our Creole pidgin.
From Liberia.
And that a Muslim can get married to a non-Muslim, and Christian get to, and we can all continue to live in peace. We are making that statement that if we get our acts and our guts right, if we get the right leadership, if we get a conscious leadership at all levels that looks at competence, capacity, consciousness, that thinks of others first, and look at the myriad of time bomb in hunger and anger facing us, and we're able to face that, and get all-inclusive governance, irrespective of tribe and race in Lagos. Lagos will become what I think the Western capitals have been fearing.
Okay.
A world power in no distant future.
Okay.
If all those ifs can be put in place.
If all those ifs can be checked. All right, perhaps Akin Fatunke is speaking like a prophet this morning, and maybe when this prophecy of yours comes to pass, we will come back into the studio and perhaps play this back and then remind you that indeed you said this. I would have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Akin Fatunke, MD, CEO, Chronicler and Associates, Communications Consultant. Thank you for lending your voice to the celebration of Nigeria at 65.
Thank you very much, Beams. I wish you well, and I wish LTV greater exploits.
Thank you very much. Right, that's where we'll leave this conversation this morning. We'll take a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues.